Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. My name is Danny De Lillo. We're here at Emerson, Los Angeles. I'm delighted to be joined with Eileen with her movie Basurero. Let's take a look at the clip. Eileen, I'm so glad we get to do this in person. You know I'm a big fan, and everyone at New Filmmakers is, of your film as well. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Basurero is a story inspired by an Al Jazeera news report, and it is about a Filipino fisherman dumping bodies for the authorities. It's like a side gig that he takes for the cash. And he's dumping bodies for authorities that have been killed in the current administration's drug war. And it really is a character study, more so about focusing on the killings themselves, but more on the people that are involved in part of the whole system of the drug war.
You're just, the vision you gave us in the film, the cinematic experience and the truth and what is really going on was such an it was so incredible, Eileen, like honestly, and I'm so glad that you shared this because this is something that is existing. You said it obviously came from an article. Where did the inspiration come for you in deciding to turn this into an actual film?
As a filmmaker, one of my visions and dreams is to really tell stories about the Filipino face. Mm-hmm. I am an American, my parents are from the Philippines, immigrated here, and it's so much for me, fascinated me about the history of the Filipinos, and not just the history, but the history of the psyche of a colonized, mm-hmm. Colonized nation and a colonized psyche, like a country that's been colonized by so many powers, you know, from China to Spain to the Americans, Japanese, and what that must be like. And living in Manila, because I'm living a lot in Manila these days, although with the pandemic I've been here, and just really seeing the complexity of it all. And you know, when you come from a colonized nation, it really becomes part of your psychology for generations and generations, in my case, mm-hmm. Of this sort of subconscious layer of really wanting to be valuable. Because, you know, if Spain came in for 300 years and told you, you know, that we're here to civilize you, mm-hmm. you know, that does a lot to the psyche of a country. And so what amazed me about this fisherman and what I think drew me to him was so much about how he took a job to dump bodies. And he, in the article or in the Al Jazeera news report, the real fisherman dumped, I think, around 18, 20 bodies before he dumped someone that he knew. And that's how numb he was to it in a way. And people say, oh, you know, he's doing it, he needs the money, he's just gonna do it. That's just the Filipino way for survival. And a lot of people think that he's not really feeling anything. But when you have a psyche like that, that has so kind of become numb mm-hmm. to it all, there is something going on inside, for sure. And so I really wanted to explore his day and how he was dealing with his family and how he was dealing with the people on the boat and the market, and really studying his internal, what's happening. Mm-hmm. And him wanting to have value, wanting to have a purpose, and but in living in a system that doesn't, that is basically telling him that he's less than. And same with the ones that are killed in the drug war.
And it doesn't help that all these countries don't hold accountability for their involvement of colonizing and what they did and how that's affected, you know, the people, you know, and I think that's something that is absolutely just understated and very unfair in this situation for many people that are existing today, they're living today. And I think, do you find with this particular subject and what he's having to do, it's just not anything close to probably, obviously, of course, of what he wanted to do as a job, but, you know, he's trying to survive, and he's, you know, it's not his fault, you know, and this is obviously in existence for many people as well, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think that fishing, for example, not just in the Philippines, but all over the world, fishermen are going through a lot, especially local fishermen, and that's, you know, with big fishing industry happening, and then climate change, and then just really malpractice fishing just to survive.
Yeah. There's a lot of corruption going on around the world, as you said. We've been seeing a lot more documented evidence of the corruption, but it's not really their fault. It's the pressure that's been put on by a lot of these other people, communities, gangs, etc. I'm really glad that you made this story, because, and I think we can't help but mention your incredible cast, like a mesmerizing cast that gave fantastic performances. Tell us a little bit about how you brought your cast together.
Well, I casted the lead first, Jericho Rosales, and he is a big actor in the Philippines.
He's amazing.
Yeah. And I think he definitely could be doing so much more. He has kind of been doing, in the Philippines, he's like a heartthrob. You know what I mean? He's
a heartthrob anywhere, don't worry.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I found him though in an indie film, because I found him before I was spending a lot of time in the Philippines. So I saw him in an indie film and I was like, wow, he's a really interesting actor. And then not till I met him in the Philippines and kind of got to know the world that I realized he was this big, huge actor there. And then the other actors, most of the people in the film are real people. Like the fishermen were real fishermen. Wow. But anyone who had a speaking part, I casted.
Yeah. And
I casted similarly because our budget was so low, but I brought on a really big actor. I casted by asking my fellow filmmaker friends, who should I cast? And I met them for coffee. I looked at their work and I was like, okay, yeah, this person could do this.
Oh, amazing.
So I did try auditioning, but it felt uneven with the budget, like what they were bringing me, what we could afford. And so I had to re-strategize the casting, because my actor is such a good actor, and to bring in, it would have been a lot of work to bring in. I had to bring in a certain type of actor to work with him. So I did kind of have to go to very specific actors that were kind of hard to get. But because it was Jericho, and I think because they really believed in the vision, they came on board.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love the colors of your film and the way it was cinematically displayed. It was unbelievable to watch. Like, I wanted to take in every moment, everything that you incorporated for us to see. I was so curious about like your production design, your location. I mean, filming in that kind of location, it was already challenges, like a lot. I mean, it was brilliant. It was picturesque and very authentic where you shot. Tell us a bit about that journey.
Oh, wow. Well, it's very authentic because it's the real place.
It's a real place, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, when you have like a low budget, I think that's one of the tricks, right? Is you really look for the real places.
Yeah.
And it automatically has that texture and that authenticity.
Yeah.
And I scouted a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of the scouting was also my process of understanding and immersing myself. So going on the boats with the fishermen and understanding the boats themselves and the fishermen themselves, and hanging out with their families in the fishing villages, which were basically urban slums where they live, because these are urban fishermen, and really just being there a lot, walking around. I mean, it took us a while to really find the specific locations, but meanwhile, it was also immersing myself too. And then I was really inspired by some journalists, like photojournalists in the Philippines. This guy, Rafi Lerma, who's been covering the drug war and has taken some really powerful photographs, and some other photographers in Manila that have been taking photos of. The Philippines is such a we culture, so they move around as like barkada, which is like your group of friends or your family. So it's very kind of always lots of people culture. So I just really was inspired by that. And the colors are really the colors of the Philippines.
It's so beautiful.
It was a colorful place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a place that clashes. And my cinematographer, it was tough because there's so many colors.
Yeah.
But yes, my cinematographer is amazing. He and I went to AFI together.
Oh,
so
nice.
This is the third project that we've worked on.
Good team.
And he lives in Korea now.
Oh,
so
nice.
he came to Korea, and we were going to use the Alexa, which comes, as you know, with a lot of accoutrements, a lot of lenses. But moving through those slums and being on the boats, like at the nth hour, we just switched to like a Canon, and it was but everything was planned. Like it definitely storyboarded with a storyboard artist myself. Then met with Jay, and Jay and I spent 3 days before the whole crew came and just walked through the locations over and over again, kind of boarding out ideas. And I just pulled a lot of photographs that inspired me. And then we came up, with the shot list and boarded it. And of course, that doesn't necessarily happen once you're out there.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Especially when you're dealing with a very famous person in your small movie, and there's like thousands of people surrounding you in the streets or running after you. It was interesting.
I was going to say, what is that like when you're obviously, filming like on location in a real experience where this could have happened, not on a set, but in a real, what's the reaction like for the locals? I bet it was quite exciting though at the same time for them to experience, but they must have been curious what you were doing, what was going on at the same time.
Yeah, I think they were more curious because of my actor.
Yeah.
Biggest
guy in the Philippines.
Yeah, they really, I just never have experienced anything like that. And, this is really my first real complex film to direct. I really come from a writer's background, so it was a real challenge and test to shoot with so many people all around and trying to deal with the crowd control. But I think people loved that we were filming there. The government, we had to work with the local government, of course, and they didn't question what we were filming about, which was interesting. Although I think that's changing now.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to require that you turn in your scripts, but they didn't do that, I think, when we got our permits, which was interesting. Great. Yeah, because, I made a film that's a very controversial issue. I mean, the government is saying, I haven't checked the latest numbers, but I think in 2020, around 6,000 or 5,500 officially killed because of the drug war since 2016. But the human rights organizations are saying like 25,000 people have killed. So that's such an extreme difference in number. So,
and you added that to your film, which, we really have to hear those numbers to understand, just how many lives that is and unnecessary too. I mean, listen, from your own personal experience and your own personal feelings, I know, obviously why you decided to make it, but I'm so universally, when you put your film out to the world, what did you kind of want your audience to understand, learn, experience from your film?
I wanted to put the question out there, how can a human being who is a human being, he has a job, he's trying to survive. He's not like a perfect guy. He has his own family. He's actually kind of an ass in many ways too, but he's a loving dad. But he's living in a system that doesn't value him, and obviously doesn't value the people that he's dumping too. So how can someone like that find value in a system that doesn't value him? So I just wanted to put that question out there. I would have loved to have explored solutions, but in 17 minutes, I was trying to get it to 15 minutes, but that didn't happen. But yeah, I just wanted to put that question out there for myself and for everyone, and I think that's what my whole team, we were examining. What everyone can say that drug war is really complex, or classism or racism is really complex, but
he's a human being.
But at the heart of it, we're all humans, and the part of it is, if a system is valuing more than others, it's a wall.
No, I'm so glad I mean, that's such an important context to it, and it's unfair for this character, but for many others that are in this same system around the world, and so I'm so glad you addressed that perspective, because everyone deserves to have the same value. What is next for you? I can't wait. I'm already geared for whatever you're gonna bring us next.
Oh, thanks. Well, Jericho and I and Darlene, the producer, we're working again on another feature film. So it'll be my first feature. And we were wanting to make a film out of Basurero because it really is a character study.
Yes.
But as I've been working on it and as I was hanging out in Philippines and just really getting to know all these people, one of the journalists was like, oh, you can keep pointing and being in the doom and the gloom of the murders and the extrajudicial killings, and it's so easy as an activist, like, and I consider myself a social impact filmmaker. It's so easy to keep just getting upset and pointing fingers and all of this, but I've just been inspired a lot lately to be more in solution, whether it be about climate change or about the extrajudicial killings, like where's the solution? In this case, it's about drug addiction. So my next film is about rehab in the Philippines, and rehab is a really new concept in the Philippines. They have rehab for the privileged, the wealthy, but they don't really have real rehab where you really do the soul searching for the marginalized, which is the majority of the population in the Philippines. They usually put you in jail or they kill you, or, and in jail they'll put you through some sort of counseling, but it's mostly like Zumba or, painting classes or praying. But there are some really revolutionary people in the Philippines right now who are standing up for the humanity of all of this and trying to tell people that if you have a drug problem, you're not a villain. You're not, even the church, there's even people in the church that are saying it's not a sin. And in the Philippines, it's so Catholic and everything's a sin, you know what I mean? So it's really gonna be a deep shift in consciousness for the marginalized who already don't feel good about themselves or feel like they're valuable. So there are people that are starting these revolutionary rehabs. So I was hanging out in these rehab programs in the city of Caloocan, where most of the killings have happened in Metro Manila. It's one of the cities in Metro Manila, and there's like a bishop, 2 bishops involved, the mayor, a lot of government officials within that area, the church, and like social workers from the University of the Philippines, and they've really come together and have created a program which has like a huge wait list now, where they're trying to get people not to be just thrown in these jails where it takes them like 10 years to get a trial, and they're not even guilty yet. They've created these programs where it's very much about soul searching and talking about addiction, and hopefully it's amazing because I think it's very revolutionary because it's helping the psyche of poverty in the Philippines. And to help the psyche of poverty in the Philippines, I think will really help the Filipinos as a colonized nation heal, whether it be there or anywhere in the world. So I think it's amazing. So that's what my next film is about.
I'm so glad you're a filmmaker. No, I love it. I'm so glad that you're, a film social activist, creative artist. I mean, we need you. We need you to shed light on the great people of the Philippines and shed light on, bringing communities and people together and understanding. I think you're amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having my
No,
film.
of course.
Really,
But thank you for your understanding and educating us and taking us to understanding where your heart lies. But I'm just curious for you as a filmmaker. I know you've obviously went to the wonderful AFI and you're making movies, but like, is there kind of any advice you could share filmmakers out there of what you try to go by when you're taking on the journey of artistic projects?
I think it's really important because it's so hard when you're telling a story or choosing a story that you want to create or produce, or even if you want to work on a film project, try and choose things that you feel aligned with and that you feel really you believe in, because it's so easy in this industry to go work on something that you don't believe in because it's a job kind of thing, or you really love the people and what their vision is. So yeah, I think that as a writer and director and a producer, it's so much about your team and who you collaborate with as well. That's so important, and that they will challenge you, but also they're still aligned with what you're trying to do. There's one thing to be challenged, it's because they don't believe in the project, and there's one thing to be challenged because they do believe in the project, right? And so your team and your collaboration is so important, because my film is not just me, it's my whole team. It really is. I mean, everyone brought themselves to the film, and you can really see it, I think. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, you leave with a great energy, so so thank you very much. Can't wait to see much more of your projects. So thank you for bringing your film to us at New Filmmakers Los Angeles. We appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I mean, this has been amazing. It really has.
You.
I mean, actually, I haven't experienced this in any of the other film festivals. It really is so true to the filmmaker, you know, and it really is encouraging and supportive. And yeah, thank you.
We're a little family.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Eileen, everybody. Thank you very much.